Mind blown.
I just realized my bar is like so low at the moment because
What?
Because you know why?
No, it's not.
The why is kind of low a little bit because I was just so happy because he just sent me. All he did was like say Happy Valentine's Day. That's all he wrote. And it was yesterday, and I haven't yet to meet up with this guy.
Yeah.
But I was so touched. I was like he didn't have to write. He didn't have to say Happy.
He didn't
Valentine's.
have to, or he might have thought like, oh, it would be weird if I said Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, he might have overthought it or overthink it.
No,
the
that's
fact
cool.
that he like took it was like Happy Valentine's Day. I'm like, oh,
that's sweet.
I haven't even met the guy yet, and the fact that he like said that, I'm like, oh, that's like just enough where it's like he's thinking of me a little bit.
Yeah, but not being weird.
But not being weird. Like, it's not like he sent me flowers and sent me chocolate. I'm like, dude,
yeah,
never met you, man. This is weird. But this is like just a text. I'm like, like, oh my gosh, like that's so sweet. I felt like a little touched. You know, like, aw.
Because you know that really he's like, he thought of you for that moment. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not a big texter, to be honest.
Oh, that's means even more.
So yeah, exactly. He's not a huge texter. Like the other guy that I met up with there's no sparks in person.
Oh my God, he sent you pages.
It was a big text. And we were like texting and like blah, 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 like all this stuff, and it was great. But then when we finally met, like there's like no sparks. And so, so this guy, like definitely not a big texter, and that's okay. Like I'm totally fine with that. So the fact that he did write Happy Valentine's Day, like, just like wish me Happy Valentine's Day, I'm like, oh, like
that's nice.
That's nice. So, but we'll see. Well, I mean, I plan to meet up with him this Friday. I mean, God forbid he slips and falls again.
I know.
If you fall again the day before, like fucking something's up.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the first
totally.
time I'm like, all right, you got photo evidence.
Yeah.
But if you like, if he does like bail out again, I don't know.
What can you do? I mean, it's like, dude, it's the second time. What are the coincidences of that?
I mean, if it really happened again,
just
like,
meet me up. Just meet.
I was like, just meet, or like maybe the universe does not want us to meet.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah,
maybe
either of those.
Not meant to be, but we'll see how that goes. But so I'm like back into dating, and I'm not like it's so tiring though.
It is tiring, but it is good to continue meeting people at your own pace, that you can really fill out for who you want.
Yeah,
you know
totally
what are the wants and things that you don't want in a person.
Exactly. I think I thought before getting back into dating, I like just overthought everything and just like, oh no, what if they're not gonna like me, or what if this or that, and like. I mean, if this is your first time listening to listening to our Mooncakes podcast, like I mentioned in our previous episodes, like I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Like it's been like a decade now since I was diagnosed, and so
decade survivor.
So now that I'm older, like I guess when it comes down to it, and this is something that I actually came across just recently, like the other day on TikTok or whatever, I came across this video that said, and it was like, written out and someone saying it out loud. You don't have to love yourself to love somebody.
You don't have to love yourself to love somebody. Oh, that's true. Yeah. And
I don't know why. I was like, you don't like. Some people say like, oh, you're not ready to be in a relationship until you love yourself. I'm like, and like, that's not true. You can learn to love yourself by loving someone and that person loving you.
I agree.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Mind
blown. Because like, I think I always thought I was never ready because I truly like, I do love myself, but like deep down, I do have these like self-esteem issues and self-confidence issues due to my bipolar.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, it's still hard sometimes to love myself for that. And so when I came across this person saying like, yeah, you can still love somebody and not love yourself completely, and that's okay. And that person, by loving someone else, that person can teach you to love yourself.
I agree.
Unlock that love for yourself.
Definitely.
And you're like, and I'm like, oh my God. This whole time? whole time? Like this 10 years I've been single this whole time? Like over like 10 years I've been single and like, but you know, I'm so glad that I took the time for myself. I don't regret it. Like I was like, it's not like I'm like, oh man, I should have been in a relationship this whole time. It was more like a realization of like if I were to hear that message like a couple years back, I probably still wouldn't sink in.
Because we're probably not ready for that message.
Yeah, exactly. But now I feel so ready for it. I feel like, you know, working with my sister, like, you know, so I feel good about like what I'm doing as work-wise and learning things on the job and doing all that, which is great. That's one part of my life. And then, you know, I'm starting to, you know, like go for a walk and everything. And I want to,
which is doing wonders. Like I honestly, because when I saw you on Saturday, I was like, Debbie, are you running? And she's like, not
I want to get back into running. I want to get back into
walking.
Running.
I'm like, wow, it's like just even walking is circulating your blood system, getting your heart rate just a tiny bit up. It's honestly, it's made you look like you look very glowy.
Oh,
to
thank
me.
you.
Definitely.
It could be the makeup too.
And more toned. Like you didn't it's not just the makeup because I've seen you with makeup, but it's just, you know, like you looked different to me.
Yeah, I think it's just, I'm just starting to, you know, and I have a life coach. And so I basically, you know, been working, and he was a really good friend of mine. And I've been really working with him to just like, just to tackle like how I feel inside about myself and just like other parts of my life that it needs work on it. But I've always thought about it, but I never put into action.
Yeah.
So he helps me like come to that realization of like, what is it that I want? And what can I do to make that happen? And it's one of the things is to work on my self-confidence. But like I realized by going after the things I do want and by making the things happen, it builds my self-confidence. Yeah. It builds my, just self-esteem.
Because it's trusting your gut, you know, and that when you're trusting your gut, that's trusting yourself.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And so, I just realized I don't think at this moment, like it's really hard to love myself fully, but that's okay. Yeah. I think everyone has a hard time to love themselves fully.
I mean, I think
unless you're a narcissist,
psychopath, you know.
Like I love myself. Look in the mirror, I love myself.
Like hey, who's that cute? Oh, it's just me.
Exactly. Like I think everyone has like issues, you know. But I feel like I'm just ready to put myself out there and just to like fall in love, you know, and just like, but as I mentioned in the past and stuff like that, but like they're like, oh, like what are you looking for? You know, that's like the number one question, right? And I'm like, I'm looking for my best friend, a best friend that I can just be myself and be vulnerable around. Because like when people say like, oh, I'm just looking for someone to love me, I'm like, yeah, you can find people to love you, right?
All the time, right? You can find a lot of people to love you, but
but they can still cheat on you even though they love you. They can still do all these things. Like, no, I don't want just like someone to love me. I want someone like who is my best friend that is loyal to me, loyal as fuck to me. Like, and just because like, you know, I can't make any promises that my bipolar won't act up again, you know, that I might get a breakdown or a manic episode or depression or, you know, like there's so many things that can happen. But I'm definitely putting in the work to make sure to prevent those things. But I can't make any promises to say that, oh, it's never going to happen. Yeah. But so whoever is with me at the moment, like at the time, like has to be loyal and just has to be my best friend because your best friend is never going to bounce on you. Yeah. Yeah. They're loyal. They won't dip out on you. Yeah. Because that's if you consider them best friend and they consider you their best friend, like you never leave their side. You're going to be there for them. Even like I still remember like you telling me like, you know, Liz is one of my best friends and, you know, me going through my struggle, my bipolar and everything. And Liz still telling me over the phone, I still remember to this day saying like, Debbie, you could be drooling and I will wipe the drool off your face. And like that kind of stuff, it's like, you know, that's the thing about living with a mental illness, as painful as that shit is, as horrible and so many cons, you know, having bipolar and everything, you know, the humiliation, the, just everything, the embarrassment and the shame, that's the core of it. It has like, it really tests the relationships and friendships that you have in your life, and the people that stick around even after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, fuck, like this is loyalty. Mm-hmm. Like this is a friendship. This is like, these are best friend status, you know? And it's like, it makes my life so much more richer to know that I have that kind of support. And no matter, like, literally losing my sanity, you know, losing my mind, can't even operate, can't have any logical thoughts, moving in this world, and like almost like a newborn baby, like not knowing what to do, and having familiar faces, my friends and my family by my side, holding my hand, visiting me at the hospital, like just going through it with me. It's like I still have these like flashbacks, you know, I still have these like memories and these moments of like what I did and how I was acting. Like but I wasn't me, like, you know, like it's like, you know, like the movie Get Out, you know, when you're like stuck in the chair, you're like watching someone act as you, but you're just watching through the eyeballs, and you're just like, fuck, you know. But like Debbie, like the logical Debbie is checked out, and I'm just watching myself make a fool of myself and doing everything, and like, but then after the end of the day, you know, when the logical side of me came back, you know, like me coming back and having to face the aftermath of everything, I mean, it killed me. Like, it killed me to know what I did. And the shame, you know, I mean, you felt shame before. I know, Liz. Like,
the other day I cringed because I was like looking, because I was making a delivery and it was late night, and we were I saw the parking lot of the what's it called, Asian Garden Mall, and I was like, I looked at it and I shuddered because like a past memory came to me, and I was like, ugh, the shame and the disgust, like, but it's like that. So like that's just a part of my shame, but like I understand. I don't know the extent to your, like, how much shame, how you feel, but like I can relate.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. Like, just being able to, I think that's what part of life is like we have these like low moments, embarrassing, maybe shameful times, and like to know that you can survive those moments, and I can talk about it. Yeah. And I can still love me at the end of the day after it all, like after the fact. That took work. Yeah, that took time. Work. That took a lot of work and time. And so, I'm just like, I know, like mentally and emotionally, I'm in a good space. I'm in a good space to allow someone into my life and to love someone. Yeah. And so, I just want to find my best friend and I'm willing to put myself out there. And then my life coach, my friend, was like asking me like, all right, what are you willing to risk for this, for love? I'm curious. This thing. And I'm like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I'm willing to risk my humility, not my sanity,
not my sanity, but my humility.
Like, I'm willing to like put myself out there and for rejection. I'm willing to be rejected. Like, and that's the thing. That's my biggest fear is like, I fall for someone. Let's say I meet this person, right? And we hit it off and everything's great and we're jiving and all that. And in the back of my mind, which has held me back throughout these years of getting to a relationship, is my bipolar disorder, my mental illness. And so, my fear is falling for someone and then having to have that conversation with them, finally telling them, disclosing my mental illness and their reaction. And this is the mantra that me and my life coach has come up with for myself. And this is something that I said aloud, and he's like, no, that's your mantra, is what's the worst that can happen?
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? And
you're not gonna die after it. Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen is they reject me. They say no.
Yeah.
They say no. I'm sorry. Like I can't date someone who has a mental illness, or like you know I can't.
Yeah.
As shitty as that is for myself, that's the worst that can happen, is that for them to say no, to reject me, basically, you know, to reject, and that's okay. Like I just accept it. I'm like, that's fine. Like I didn't invest too much into it. Like I like let them know early about my mental illness, and if they can't, after hanging out with me and like getting to know me as a person, after me telling them, disclosing something that personal, and them to not accept me for me and seeing me differently and like, oh, I can't do that. Fuck it, I don't want to be with someone like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with someone who can't handle me at potentially my worst, you know? Like, okay, that's all it took. That's all it took to scare you away, to reject me. It was to see me differently and not like me, is to know that I have this mental illness that I've put in the work and learn to cope with and live with. Like, I'm the one that has to take the medication.
Yeah.
I'm the one that has to put in the work for the mental health work and everything. Like, I'm not asking you to come and take care of me financially, emotionally, mentally. Like, I'm not telling you to do any of those things. I've done that. I put in the work for myself. I'm just asking you to meet me halfway and to know that this is what I have to live with. But can you live with me knowing that I have that? Knowing potentially that I could have another breakdown. Knowing, like, you know, like, are you going to be loyal to me? Are you going to support me? Are you my best friend? Like, and if they, like, homie can't handle it, like, me disclosing that to them, that's not my best friend.
No, yeah. I'm glad that he walked you through it and kind of visualize the whole scenario so that you can face your fear within that you know, this visualization right there, so you can work through that internal conflict that you had with yourself.
Exactly. Like my coach was like basically telling me at one point, was like, all right, how, like, physically, how does it make you feel? Like, this shame that you have physically, what does it feel like to you right, like, at this moment? Can you describe it to me? I'm like, fuck, like, okay, like, I have to describe to you, like, the shame, like, physically how it makes my body feel. And yeah, we went through it all, and then I'm like, okay, it's just this physical sensation, and that's the worst that it can get. But I'm not gonna, you're right, I'm not gonna die. Like, the only thing the death of is my ego and pride. But the mental illness, like, it obliterates your ego and pride. Like, that's all it is. And you rebuild a healthier ego. And, like, yeah, I have my pride, I have my ego too still. It's still intact, but it's been destroyed many times by my mental illness, but it's been rebuilt into a more healthier ego. And so that I can handle rejection.
Yeah.
I can handle the person saying no, like, I can't move forward with this relationship knowing that you have bipolar. Can't do it, Debbie. Sorry. Wish you best of luck. I'm like, you too, buddy.
Yeah.
like I just have to, like, that's it.
That's such a healthy and great way to turn around your perspective on the whole thing, because that was really scary for you.
Oh yeah, you know,
the whole idea.
Liz, I mean, like, is my best friend for over, oh my gosh, 2 decades.
It's like 23 years or 24 years or something like that. I don't know, somewhere over 2 decades. Over 2 decades.
So Liz knows me through all my ups and downs, and like, she knows me better than sometimes than I know myself, of like how painful and like how hard for me to even, like, to get close to somebody.